Hi everyone. The negative economic impacts of COVID-19 are obvious and they are talked about a lot. However, there is something positive that has come from COVID-19 as well. It's just not talked about as often. So, according to the World Health Organization, 8% of total deaths worldwide are due to air pollution, and yet 91% of our total world population live in areas where the air pollution exceeds permissible limits. Sembrano Monserrate said in the Indirect Effects of COVID-19 on the Environment 2020 that climate experts are predicting that greenhouse gas emissions are going to drop to levels that have not been seen since World War II during this global pandemic. I thought it would be interesting to explore this with you guys because COVID-19 is impacting all of us in some way or another, and we're often so focused on all of the negative impacts. So I thought it would be interesting to explore something positive that has come from this global pandemic because it does affect all of us in some way. So we are going to talk a little bit about what some of those positive effects have been on our environment, as well as some of the things that could have caused those positive effects. We're going to start by examining a specific case study. So weighing in a preliminary assessment of the impact of COVID-19 on the environment, a case study in China 2020, discusses a case study that was done in China in great detail. So nitrogen dioxide, or NO2, is how they measure air pollution. So the higher the levels of NO2, the more polluted the air. The lower the levels, the less polluted the air. And NASA and the ESA detected these levels in northern and northeast China, where they're heavy industrial areas, so typically have a little bit more pollution. So on January 16th, prior to the lockdown, the levels were very high. And by January 30th, just a week after the shutdown in Wuhan, the NO2 levels had decreased significantly nationwide. So here is January 16th, and all of this yellow and red here is the nitrogen dioxide in the atmosphere. And then over here, January 30th, you can see how much it has declined since then. In February, there's almost none. Late February, early March, mid-March, it starts to pick back up a little bit as things start to reopen. So part of the reason that China has such high NO2 levels is because they're a large coal consumer, and the coal combustion process produces large amounts of air pollutants, including NO2. And it's not only in China, even though this study is examining China specifically. It was actually reported by Mandel and the COVID-19 pandemic persuaded lockdown effects on the environment over stone quarrying and crushing areas 2020, that the capital of South Korea has reported a 54% decline in their carbon emissions, and similar effects have been seen in Europe as well. So we can use the information from studies like this to predict how COVID-19 might be impacting the environment in other parts of the world. So we're going to talk a little bit about what could be contributing to these changes in the environment. Number one, definitely the decrease in tourism. Decrease in tourism means decrease in the use of urban vehicles, airplanes, cruise ships, etc., all of which produce air pollutants. And then also the decrease in tourists means decreased people in the beaches. So all around the globe, we have cleaner beaches than ever. Simply because of the reduction of the waste that is typically generated by these tourists who visit the beaches. Another thing is the decrease or the halt in industrial sectors. So like we talked about with China and the coal combustion, the combustion of any natural gas or fuel produces those same air pollutants, including NO2, into the atmosphere. So worldwide, these industrial sectors are halted, thus producing less NO2, and we have less NO2 in our atmosphere as a result of that. And then also with the decrease in the industrial sectors, we're seeing improved water quality as well. So Mandel and COVID-19 pandemic persuaded lockdown effects on the environment over stone quarrying and crushing areas 2020 examines a case study that assessed the water pollution changes. So the samples were taken from areas that were very close to mining and crushing areas where the water pollution is typically very high. And actually, according to the Central Pollution Control Board, the levels of pollution are so high in these areas that it's unsafe for humans, animals, and the environment. So the samples prior to the lockdown showed these dangerous levels. After the start of the lockdown, the levels decreased significantly. But believe it or not, they were actually still at dangerous levels, even after the start of the lockdown. So we're going to review what we've talked about. Not all of the consequences of COVID-19 are negative. There is something positive that has come. We have been producing less pollution. So in turn, we've created a positive impact on our environment because of that. And it's actually also been said that the human health benefits have exceeded the total confirmed COVID-19 deaths so far. While not everybody may agree with that previous statement, it is definitely interesting to examine something positive that has come from this current global pandemic. And I hope that you guys are all thinking a little bit more positively about it now too. Thank you for listening.